have a small grocery haul to share with you tonight. We've been gone for a while, so all of the perishables in our refrigerator were gone or covered in green fuzz. So I needed to go out and pick up a few things. So I only picked up a very few things. So one of the things that we definitely needed was some orange juice. And we like, again, the Simply Orange pulp-free orange juice. So just one bottle of that because I'm trying to limit how much I get this week. We were also out of milk, so I picked up the Silk almond and coconut milk, and I've been trying that lately and find that I really do like that. And then, of course, I needed my caramel macchiato creamer. I've got another one. Let me show you what I've got. I got this one from one of my sisters. It is the non-dairy creamer, almond milk and oat milk, inspired by caramel macchiato. And it's the Starbucks brand, and it is pretty good. So I have been using this, but I did want to go ahead and pick up my old standby so that I would have it when I ran out of that. And I do like to add this to my hot chocolate. Speaking of hot chocolate, I also was out of this Ghirardelli caramel sauce. When I'm liking to make a really decadent coffee, I'll add this to the coffee as well as this. No whipped cream. Maybe I'll get some whipped cream and add some of that too. But typically what I will do is I will add this caramel, sometimes a white chocolate, but then of course my caramel macchiato creamer. So got that picked up. And then needed some Italian dressing for the salads that I like to eat. And as I think about this, I picked up the dressing, but I didn't pick up any salad making. So, go figure. But I like to keep this on hand. And then the fresh things that I also got included apples. And these are two different kinds of apples. These particular ones here are the Gaia apples, I believe. No, these are the Honeycrisp apples, and I only got 3 of those, and then these should be the Gaia apples, and I got 6 of those. We eat a lot of apples. I like to take a apple slicer such as this, and then put it on the apple, and then cut the apple into 8 pieces and eat it that way. So sometimes my husband will do that and he'll put it in a baggie and take them on his fishing trips, or we'll just grab an apple and just eat it. So I got 2 different kinds of apples, and I also got some plums. I'm kind of fumbly today, go figure. I only got 3 of those though, so because I didn't want to get too much stuff. We are going to have to go away again for a few days and then come back. So whereas I did need some produce, I didn't want to have so much in the fridge when the few days that we were gone that things would go bad. So the apples will keep till we get back, as well as the plums if they're not used up before we go. I also bought this butternut squash, and I am going to make a fall crock pot recipe. And right now, butternut squash and those kinds of things are coming in our area, so I wanted to use something seasonal. So picked up 1 butternut squash, and then I also need some fire roasted corn for that recipe. So I have 1 bag of the Bird's Eye fire roasted corn, and then pears. And these pears are just little small ones, but you can just snack on them pretty easily. So got some pears. We were out of potatoes. I used the last of those this morning. I made this kind of potato, carrot, and egg kind of little patty type thing for brunch today. It was so delicious, but I used up the last of my potatoes. So I got 5-pound potatoes here, 1 zucchini, and then also a dozen eggs. I used the last of our eggs this morning, so I need to get some eggs. And then I always like to get a pound of, not a pound of bacon, but well, I guess it is a pound, a pack of bacon, and this is the 1 pound size. One of the things that I'll make pretty soon, if not this week, I will next week, is the zuppa toscano, and I always need about a half a pound of bacon for that. So wanted to pick up some bacon for that, as well as bacon for breakfast. And then my husband likes for me to get this Pacific Whiting. These are the Pacific Whiting boneless fillets. So I did get this for him. Why we need to buy fish? Well, we got a freezer full of fish. I don't know. Maybe it tastes differently, but he wanted some whiting as well. So here's the whiting. And you guys know I always need carrots. Now what I did not need was onions because I already have some of those. But I did need carrots, did need celery. I've got some of that in the fridge. It's still good. I also picked up this rotisserie chicken because this way we can have a rotisserie chicken for dinner, and I can just have maybe some rice or something with it that I can whip up pretty quickly. Because you know, when you buy groceries, you need to pick up something that you can also make fairly quickly for dinner that night. And then a loaf of bread. And this time I just got the Kroger honey wheat. Hubby's been making some sandwiches and things like that to take fishing, and I figured just some simple bread would work for that. So now let me get this stuff in the fridge and I'll come back. Now something that I definitely had to pick up today was this box of pancake mix. Whereas I will make my own pancake mix, I usually have it in a half-gallon jar in my pantry. Right now that jar is empty, and my poor husband was looking for something to make for breakfast today, and he could literally find nothing. I said, "What'd you eat this morning?" He said, "I couldn't find anything," for the first time. He's usually can pretty easily find something. He's usually pretty resourceful, but we were like out of like everything. So I did pick up a box of pancake mix, and that was one of the things he says, "I couldn't even find pancake mix." So I did pick up a box of pancake mix. And I also realized just now I also should have got a box of grits. But again, I was just getting a few things today. So I did get this box of Hungry Jack complete buttermilk pancake mix. And then I was down to my last K-cup of coffee. So I picked up 2 boxes of this Starbucks decaf blend. It is the medium roast with notes of toffee and dusted cocoa. And this box, I believe it was $9 for this box. You get 10 cups in a box, so that's about 90 cents each. But by the time I make my own with the little goodies that I put in it, I probably get at least up to $1.50, almost $1.75 by adding all the stuff in. But what I usually get when I go to Starbucks, that cup of coffee is now up to $7. So I'm saving quite a bit by making my coffee at home. And then I always like to have these packages of Ben's Original Ready Rice. And whereas I will purchase long grain rice and other forms of long grain rice that takes anywhere from 20 to 45 minutes to cook, when hubby needs to cook rice in a hurry, this is what he will reach for. So I do like to have this. Particularly if I decide at the last minute to make a taco bowl, then we can just use some rice to layer it. And this just happens to be the whole grain medley. It's got like brown and wild rice with herbs and spices. And it's absolutely delicious. And I have been trying out the Kroger brand of the 90-second rice. And it is okay. But what I find is that the Kroger brand seems to clump up more in the package. My husband just says that I just need to be more judicious about squeezing the package and getting it mixed up pretty good before I put it in the microwave. So I'll make sure that I am doing that, but I do prefer these. I think it's a better product. However, I'll buy the Kroger brand in a minute. We were also out of these Coke minis. I like to buy these little ones. Sometimes I'll get the Coke minis, the 7-Up minis, and the A&W root beer minis. This time I just got the Coke minis because my husband likes those with his meals. Chips, I bought 2 bags of chips. He's already got one over there. And then I do have a recipe for the Jiffy Corn Muffin Mix dupe. However, I am out of that. So I picked up a couple boxes. So if I'm in a hurry or hubby wants to make some pretty quickly, we've got some corn muffin mix to do that with. I always like to pick up a pack of gum for him. He likes this particular kind. So I'll get that. And then I just wanted to show you guys these. These are some green peppers that I grew in my garden. So I didn't have to get those today. And then I found a recipe that I'm going to make called an autumn harvest bowl. And you make it with this rice-a-roni, long grain and wild rice mix. So I needed to pick up 2 boxes of that for that recipe. So we'll see how that turns out. And I'll make it and let you guys see me do that. And I've been using lots of cans of petite diced tomatoes, so I had to pick up some of those. And I just got the Kroger brand this time. As you know, I like Red Gold or Hunt's, but Kroger brand has been working out. And then we like the Raisin Bran Crunch. This is a family size, so I needed another box of that because we were almost out. And then basic staples. Needed some toilet tissue, so I picked up this large package of that. And then this is the kind of tissue, the little small tissue in these little individual small boxes. We were out of that, so I needed to pick up some of those. Those are the kinds of things that we like to get. So one of the things you'll notice is that this is pretty much very similar to the things I buy all the time, other than the Hungry Jack. I tend to buy these same things all the time. If you take a look at my 20-item capsule grocery haul, you'll see that I buy these certain things all the time because it allows me to make meals. I can mix and match whatever I've got and make a meal with anything. One of the things I didn't pick up today was some meats because I'm trying to use some of the things that I've got in my freezer. It's been in there for a while and it's time for me to start using up some of that. So that's what I'm working on right now, is using up some of those things that are in there. Now I did get a question from one of my viewers wanting to know how can she begin prepping her food pantry for her family with today's prices. So let me just show you a couple of things that I think you should start with. What I would recommend to get started with prepping, and the first thing I want to say is prep what you eat and then eat what you prep. Now what that means is that you only want to get in to put up those things that your family will eat. So one of the first things people always talk about with building your prepper pantry is to get in rice and some kind of beans. And we eat a lot of rice. We like rice here, so definitely that's one of the staples that I want to get in. But if your family doesn't eat rice, that's not what you want to buy. So this is a 2-pound bag of rice, and I put it in this jar because it'll keep better in the jar in my pantry. So rice, and then we do like black-eyed peas as well as other kinds of beans. So again, this is 1 bag of beans, this is another bag of beans, and I put them in these jars. These jars are jars that tomato sauce or pasta sauce would have come in like this. And then I save the jar and use it to store things in. So definitely you want to pick up some rice and beans and then put it in jars rather than leaving it in the bag in your pantry. And then you also want to pick up some things that you can make meals with. Now, I just happened to find this bag of 3-bean chili soup mix when I was shopping. And so I grabbed it. I thought the price was reasonable. And with this one, all you add is water and tomato paste, and you're ready to go. So something like this is also good. But if I only had a few dollars, it does have rice and beans and that kind of thing in it, so it's definitely a hearty meal, and it serves 8. So that's a good bargain. You also want to buy things that you can make meals with. So you definitely want to make sure you've got some tomato sauce, or not tomato sauce, but pasta sauce on your shelf, because with your pasta sauce, you can make pasta sauce with spaghetti. You can have some other kind of pasta like macaroni or ziti or whatever kind of noodles you choose to purchase, but you can make a meal using the pasta sauce or using your canned diced tomatoes. So you definitely want to pick some of these things up as well. And again, some pasta, some fruit as well. Now I pulled out this jar of peaches and they taste pretty good. You're going to definitely need some fruit, so I would start picking up some of that. And then I like the Grable Country canned meat. This is the cooked ground beef. This particular one is the boneless turkey. And again, they're all cooked, so all you got to do is heat them up to serve. Now here's the thing. Let's say to get started, you're going to set aside $20 out of each grocery shopping experience to begin to build your prepper pantry. This can of meat now is somewhere around $6. So that's going to take a chunk of your food purchase. However, you do need some of the protein, and if you're a meat-eating family, I would try picking up 1 can of the canned meat each time you go shopping and have it set aside. Or maybe on one particular day, all you buy with your $20 is meat, which would also include canned fish. Let me show you one. Here's a can of chunk light tuna, and you can make tuna casserole, tuna patties, tuna melts, all kinds of things with it. So when you're looking at adding that protein, I would definitely pick up a can of meat, such as chicken, beef, pork, whatever it is you want to get, as well as the tuna. However, if you've only got $20 to spend, you may not be able to pick it all up at one time. So I encourage you to start a plan for your prepper pantry. Maybe you have a little notebook and you put in your notebook how many things you need to get to serve your family for so many weeks, and you want to start out with 1 week's food supply and then build up to 2 weeks food supply, and then gradually build that up to a month's food supply till you have enough food for 90 days or for 3 months. Now, right now, I don't have anything like salt and pepper, any kind of spices here right now, but those are some things you definitely want to think about. I always think about that one scene from Gone with the Wind when the soldiers had come and the administrators had taken all the spices and all the food and just left them with rice to eat. And they'd also taken all salt. And I remember Scarlett was saying she was so sick of eating rice without salt. So having some seasoning does add some flavor to your food, and it helps you not to get fatigued by what it is that you have to serve. So I would definitely encourage getting spices as well. You're going to want to get flour and sugar and salt and pepper and all those other kinds of spices. But right now, with the $20 that we're starting with, we were going to get some things that we're going to actually eat and use, and we'll add the spices in later. If you want to see how I build my 90-day food supply, check out this video right here. I also have videos where I talk about some of the toiletry items that you should have on hand, some of the first aid items and different things like that that you want to have on hand. And I will link those in the description box and in the sky, eye in the sky as well.